Hello, this is your 2024 election updates. Today is May 1st. This is my first posting on my YouTube channel. I am a teacher in our public school system here in the United States. I'm a social science teacher that teaches government, history, world history, and geography. So I do have some information about these topics that I can talk about. Um, Took multiple poli-sci classes in college. I am aware of the situation here in the United States on the presidential election. For this, I'm an independent voter, and I'm also from the state of Nebraska. So, if that tells you something, I have no care or interest of who wins. It does not really matter to me, but I'm just going to break this down for a better understanding for what I think will happen, just on my own perspective, and maybe possibly show some light in why I think that. So this channel is going to reflect just election updates throughout 2024. I probably will do some live streams because Super Tuesday is next Tuesday, but it really doesn't matter because we know both candidates for each side already. So I will do a couple live streams maybe later in the year before the election, maybe after a debate or if there is a debate. But other than that, let's just get started on my 2024 election prediction. So we're going to mark the safe Democratic states first. And then once we are done with that, we're going to mark the safe Republican states. Most of these are safe just because there's no contest. They are easily going that way no matter what happens. It doesn't matter really on either hand what is going to happen. They are going to go that way, even unless something drastically changed over the next couple months that resulted in them not happening like this, like say a pandemic or something like that. Maybe some of these states in the Northeast would not. Like, things can change, especially since we're 6 months out from the election. But here we go. This is where we stand, 188 to 125. Currently, national average polls, right now, Donald Trump is leading nationwide by 0.7 as of May 1st. So, with that, you kind of get a reference of it's going to be a close election. Both candidates aren't really liked that much. Donald Trump has a really core base of the GOP. But on the Democratic side, Joe Biden is kind of a weak candidate, at least among not moderates. Moderates, he's a really good candidate for moderates, but for the progressive side of the party or the very liberal side of the party, he is kind of a sleeping candidate, not as enthusiastic, not as progressive as they would like. But so now we'll just go with the safe Democratic states. Minnesota, Colorado, big district or big areas. Minneapolis, St. Paul will provide that enough to easily win that one. Same with Denver, will provide it easily enough with that one. DC, Fairfax area, Alexandria, and Virginia will provide Virginia as an easy win for the Democrats. Same with New Hampshire. Should be a very close. It should be closer than it has been. So it might be lean because last time of what happened in New Hampshire. Oh, Joe Biden only won it by 6%. So yeah, it'll be likely. It'll be a likely state. So other than that, I think let's go with the Republican side. Iowa has become further right since Donald Trump's presidencies, especially since Barack Obama won this less than 4 elections ago, pretty handily. Same thing with Ohio. Ohio has become a very Trump favorable state recently, which is insane to think because whoever won Ohio had won the previous 20 elections before that besides Joe Biden last year. He was the only different candidate to not win it and still win the election. Then let's go with, I think Florida will go to not Joe Biden, but Donald Trump pretty easily. Um, he won it last year by less than 5%, only 3, but he won it by 400,000 votes. And Governor Ron DeSantis did just blow um, the Democrats out of the water. Same with Marco Rubio in the 2022 races. It was one of the only places that was a red wave year. Republicans dominated Democrats across the board in Georgia or in Florida. Same thing with Texas. I think Texas will be a likely Republican state just because Donald Trump did it win it by almost 6 points, 5.6, which is 600,000 votes. But it has become more left or more Democratic leaning every single year. So I will say that is a very close district, and it could get closer this year because more people are moving to Texas, more people are having different views than the average Texas citizen used to. So I mean, it is possible, especially with the border there, especially since that is a big problem on both the GOP and Democratic side. I think that will be a telling tale to see how close Texas is. If Texas is closer than we expect, then I think Joe Biden has a pretty good chance of winning. If it is further out than we expect and not as big or like is a bigger lead than last or 2020, I think Joe Biden might be in for a problem in other regions, especially the Southwest. But other than that, I think those are my only likely states for Republicans. So it should be right now 225 to 218. The next is lean. I'm gonna go with lean. I don't think the Democrats have any lean states on theirs. I would say Michigan would be the closest to lean, and Pennsylvania would be the closest to lean. But I don't think they're gonna be marked as lean. Because as of today, Donald Trump leads in the polls by 1.5% in all 6 of those. I mean, I could look at Pennsylvania alone, and I think Donald Trump still leads in the polls by 1. Yeah, he does. Same thing with Michigan. I could look, and I think his lead is bigger, 1.2. But Joe Biden does win a couple of these. So, I mean, it is possible that that happens. I think, and then I'm pretty sure Arizona, he's up by 5, which is a lot considering that it just went to Joe Biden by last year by less than a point. Same thing. Nevada is also down a lot for Joe Biden, which is insane because Nevada hasn't gone Republican in years. Then let's go with look at Wisconsin, 1.8, very similar to Michigan and Pennsylvania. North Carolina, I think, is a bigger margin, 5.4, very similar to Arizona. And then let's go with Georgia. Georgia, it is 3.8 on average. So, I mean, all of our swing states are pretty close to that like or lean tilt margin. So I think right now, I think North Carolina is a likely state or lean state for Donald Trump, just because Donald Trump won it by 1.3% last year, which is not that big of a win, but it was also a wave year for Democrats. Democrats won the House, the Senate, and the presidency all in 2020. And that was probably a referendum on Donald Trump and the handling of the COVID pandemic. But I still think Donald Trump will be able to carry North Carolina, even though the governor race right there currently right now is probably going to benefit Joe Biden just because there is a radical extreme right MAGA Republican on the GOP side that might turn voters away from Donald Trump along with the governor there. But other than that, I think Maine 2nd District will be lean also. Same thing with Georgia. I think Georgia, Donald Trump does take it back just because the governorship last year, or in 2020, Stacey Abrams lost to the current governor of Georgia by a good amount of votes compared to the 2022 special election, which is where the Raphael Warnock still won his district by a couple votes over Herschel Walker. But I think it was just candidate quality. And I think Donald Trump will be seen as a better candidate than Joe Biden in Georgia this year. Then let's go with Arizona. I think Arizona, same exact thing. I think it'll be tilt instead of lean, though, just because Joe Biden won it only by 11,000 votes, and he won Georgia by 12,000 votes. But I think Arizona has become more left leaning than right leaning. So I think it's only a lean margin, just because it should be a closer race. Then I think Nevada still goes to the Democrats by a tilt margin. Democrats haven't lost this state in the presidential race for a long time. I think they will win it pretty handily. And then Nebraska second district. I am from Nebraska. I think Joe Biden will win the second district by a lean margin. Also, um, it should be a very close race. I mean, so far Nebraska did try to eliminate this district system, though. The Republicans in the state have been trying to eliminate the district by district and make it a winner take all, which I think is kind of bad for the system, just because then Nebraska gets a lot more attention just because that second district that is close. A lot more money and revenue ads get spent there, meaning more money for the state. So I think that is where I would say that would stand at this point. Um, I think Michigan and Pennsylvania will go Democratic. Also, I think they're just in the 2022 election. Michigan and Pennsylvania both swung far to the left on their governorship and their Senate maps. Michigan now has a trifecta in their state House, Senate, and the governorship. And I think Pennsylvania has a split in the House and Senate, but has the governorship as Democratic. So 2 out of the 3. So I think they're more leaning more to the left more and more, especially now that the auto union endorsed Joe Biden as the presidency. But other than that, I think last one, I think Wisconsin goes back to Donald Trump by a lean margin, just because Joe Biden only won this by 20,000 votes. He won Michigan by 150,000 votes and Pennsylvania by 80,000 votes. I think those are a lot more likely to go to him than Wisconsin, that he only won by 20. Because last year he won 20,000, 20,000, and 10,000. Those are small vote margins, and only 10,000 people can flip, and especially with an independent like Robert Kennedy Jr., who's polling at 10% right now, can lead to definitely a different political landscape than we have in this last election. So to wrap it up, I think my 2024 election winner right now would be Donald Trump by 272 electorate votes to Joe Biden's 266 electoral votes. I think it will be a very close and tight election through and through. But if you have any questions or have any comments regarding my posts, leave the comments down below. Please like and subscribe to the video, and have a great rest of your day.